Another change that's been implemented that I don't know if I necessarily like, but you really can't do anything about it, and you'll get used to it. With heroes' abilities and skills, they seem to have adapted a concept that those of us who play EVE Online know all too well, and that is time delays between actions, which is kind of annoying. So basically, and some things you can only do once in battle. In particular, the mass equivalent of spells, I think as it's called in here, collective, or at least it's called collective in the German version. Like collective ice armor that gives every unit ice armor, or collective regeneration, or collective stand your ground, which is a nice ability, which is actually her bonus. But these can only be used once in combat, and then other things like your base healing, base skills, they can be used many times in combat, but there's a time delay, a certain number of rounds between when you use them and then when you can use them again. So you really got to kind of plan it out a little bit and be prepared for that. Another thing that you need to know, and that becomes very important, there may only be 5 factions, but they all play so differently, and they have created each unit to where every unit has, or every unit is beneficial. I mean, I've been in the late game stages, as the Sanctuary, and right now here's the base units of the Sanctuary, the Kappa, the High Drat, whatever he's called in English, Sharkman or something, I don't know, don't really care, and the Coral Priest. These are the base units, but I found that in the late game, I am still loving to have these, and these are the primary recruiting units that I have, because they're just really good in the late game too, even in the beginning game. I mean, you have the Kappa here, you upgrade him, and he can do a flying attack once every 2 rounds that the enemy can't retaliate against, that does more damage than his base attack, and it's basically like a double strike when you get him upgraded. Then you have the Coral Priest who can shoot, but at the same time cast a regeneration spell that lasts for 3 turns on all units. You get like hundreds of Coral Priests. Then you use them on your elite or core creatures. They're pretty much unstoppable, especially when you max out the defensive bonuses and the enemy's only doing like 25% damage against you. And then also, one thing that I like is all healing spells resurrect now. So regeneration spells do the same. So if you cast a healing spell in your, let's say a unit has like 10 hit points, but they've taken 25 damage, so that means 2 would have been killed and 1 was half hurt. If you have a healing spell that would heal 25, then it'll heal the 1 unit that's hurt and then resurrect as many are available for, yeah. So healing and regeneration spells now also resurrect. So the Coral Priest also has the ability to resurrect with that regeneration spell. She can cast it twice, and it lasts for 3 rounds. So you get essentially 6 rounds of regeneration and resurrection from her, which I love it. And like I say, this is a base creature, so, and there's other units in there. And while he got to move again, I'm going to explain that too. They've changed a little bit the way Moral works. You still get to move or attack a second time, but it functions a little differently in that the movement again, or yeah, if you choose to move again, the space in which you can move is halved. Is he about to die? Yeah, the space in which you can move is halved. Like you see, he got to move again, but he also did half damage. So that's one thing you got to be prepared for. Ah, crap. But yeah, so like I say, it allows you to kind of attack again, but at the same time, not as much, but still, an extra attack is always nice. But to give you an idea of how you need to incorporate strategy, one thing you need to know is that you got to get used to the unit abilities and what they do and learn to use them. Because you see, like a normal noob would probably just say, ooh, only 1 wolf left, I can click to kill him and that'll end the battle. But a good player will look at what units he has, consider the situation, and look at the initiative bar down here, similar to Might Magic 5. Here's Might Magic 5, that shows when they're going to move. this wolf just killed one of my shark men. So sure, I could end this battle, but then that'd be minus a shark man. He's also killed one of the kappa, so I'm going to defend and not attack, because I know both the coral priest and the coral priest will move before this guy. Wait a minute. Oh shoot, that might not work. Well, I may not be able to resurrect the shark man, but I know I'll be able to. If I wait, I can resurrect one of the kappa because the regeneration will happen. See, round 4, he regenerated. And I guess I have no choice. Now I gotta kill him. But simple things like that, knowing your unit abilities will help. And on that line, since every unit has like a ridiculous amount of abilities almost, like your average unit has like 5 or 6 abilities, you really need to look into these units, see what their abilities are, and learn how to capitalize on that. And one thing I'd recommend too is choosing a specific faction that you like, and then playing solely as them. Because I'm going to just specifically play as a Sanctuary because I like the way they play, they suit my playing style well. And with this game being so massive and so involved with units, it's really best that you play, like I say, as one faction, and I recommend playing as easy on the first couple difficulties against enemies until you get a really good feel of what different units do, because even if you don't want to play as a faction, it's good to know the way the units work, you know, what their strengths and weaknesses are of your enemies so that you can exploit that. And that's why I've lost a couple times, because I couldn't understand why things were happening. But then, you know, as you go on, you begin to understand, okay, like you have that one unit in the Haven Town, I forget what it's called, you know, that standard guy with their spear and shield. One thing you learn quickly is when he's upgraded, if he's standing next to a friendly unit that's attacked, he will retaliate, you know, if your unit can retaliate that was attacked, you know, after he retaliates, if that spear, sword, shield guy, whatever he's called, I don't really care, if he's standing right next to your unit and has the ability to attack, and is standing right next to the enemy unit that attacked your friendly unit, he'll go ahead and attack them too because he's so angry that you attack them. There's a demon creature that when he attacks somebody, he drives them so full of hate that the unit he attacked, or the units nearby, will only attack him because they hate him so much. And this really sucks because sometimes you want to kill that powerful demonic creature that's doing fireballs to you, but your units are just too enraged to attack him because they can only attack the one unit. So you learn quickly, hey, I need to primary him, get him dead so that I can have the freedom to attack what I want when I want. So little things like that you really got to get used to. Other things that are also equally just as important is the fact that, let's see, what was I going to say? Like some units, like the fire elemental, they blow up when you kill them. So you really kind of want to make sure you target him with ranged units. Another unit, whenever you attack it, the damage done is proportional to, or you take damage proportional to what you did to it. And so, I mean, I've seen, like, you can have like a massive army, but then you attack it with like powerful elite creatures that do thousands of damage. Lo and behold, you just lost several of your elite creatures because the damage you did to the hostile was done back to you. So that's why it's really, really important to play on easy for starters and learn the advantages that the game has to offer for each unit, because everyone is useful. The factions play out very differently, and you really got to get used to that if you want to succeed in this game. Because like I say, that's why I kept losing. Because, I mean, I had to redo my hero simply because I had her built up wrong, and the abilities I had given her were not the abilities that you should have for a Haven hero, just to put it simply. So yeah, on that lines, that's a really good strategy or thing to know right there.